This is one of the few nice days I've had, and it's actually looking like it's going to get rained out. So it's been pretty difficult to get out in the garden, and I imagine many of you who up north are probably dealing with being snowed in. So what do you do when you can't get outside, either because of the weather or injury or some other personal issue? Well, one thing you can do is plan. Well, since I'm talking about planning, I figured I'd point out this app I came across. What's called Planter. This isn't a sponsorship. This is legit what I came across. I thought it was an interesting app, and I wanted to show it off. Well, if you have the Android and iPhone versions, it was originally designed for Android. There is a premium version for this app, but I'm not sure it's really necessary. When you first load into it, it'll ask you to add your first plant, though personally, I think it could be better to go over and add your first site. The defaults on it didn't really match up with what I have, but once you add a site, you can tailor custom it to what fits you. There is also an online version, and you can get on your PC. It seems a lot more simplistic compared to the app, personally. So you can create a want need list for your plants, schedule things on a calendar, plan your layout for your garden, and a bunch of more stuff you can do on this thing. It has a troubleshooter here for common diseases and problems you run into, an indicator for pest insects and beneficial insects. You might want to give this thing a look. For me, because of personal issues, I'm kind of behind on my plans. Some interesting volunteer radishes. Fantastic. Now, my plan was to fill this bed up, and, well, that's not working out too well. So, instead, I'm putting all these grow bags into my raised bed. This way, all I need to do is top off the grow bags themselves, which will take a lot less than it will to top off my raised bed. Then I can just plant right into these grow bags. Now I could use the soil from these grow bags to maybe try and fill this up, but then I'll be out the grow bags. Of course, I still have the okra growing here. I could probably pick that one and feed that to my bird. But these will have to go, and I can put in my want. So this is just an idea of getting back on track for me. Of course, if you're snowed in, you really don't have the option of doing something like this out in your garden. You could maybe set up some kind of indoor thing, or just plan for when your season is ready to go out and plant, which is probably a good idea anyway. I should actually be starting to plan in my spring garden pretty soon here, even though that's not going to be for probably another couple months at least. Another idea is you can create a diagram of your garden so you can plan out where you're going to put everything. Now, you don't have to follow your plans entirely to the letter, because things are going to come up, which you should probably know if you're dealing with problems getting out in the first place. So it's usually good to have a plan A. Maybe we can work on a plan B or C while you're at it, and make sure you can be a little bit fluid with your ideas. Okay, took a really long time, and I'm already almost past the season for growing this stuff anyway. Some of it's looking pretty leggy. Some of it's already bloomed, so it's probably a lost cause there. But I finally got them all out into the pots. Nice thing about this is I can still take the chance with it, putting them in the pots like this. See, this way I can, instead of pulling everything, I can just move the pots. Let's fill this thing back up, and I'm ready to go for spring and summer. One interesting thing I did notice is I probably wouldn't have noticed if I didn't have these problems in the first place, was the difference in the roots. Now, the Ethiopian kale actually had the smallest root system compared to the others, which you would think could be kind of counterintuitive, considering the Ethiopian kale actually grows the biggest out of the three. The red Russian kale, as you can see there, actually had the longest roots, and they were actually wrapping around the tray I had them sitting in. While the broccoli, he was the most root bound. So the broccoli, these roots will spread out the most. The interesting thing that this tells me is that the Ethiopian kale probably would do a pretty good job growing in pots for later use. So if you have only containers to grow in, say you're in a small area, that might be the good choice. So this is probably the end of my winter journey. It's a long and hard one. And May Gardens, it'll take as long as it took me to make this video.